As this war on Gaza escalates, and yeah, I chose that word on purpose, on Gaza, as this war on Gaza escalates, I'm finding myself being typically neurodivergent, spending all my time learning every possible thing I can that's within my reach to learn about this ongoing conflict. And in doing so, arose the question of, is what I'm doing a neurodivergent thing? Or, kind of more important to me anyway, are the people's damn near across the board, unapologetic, sometimes seemingly happy reaction to a literal genocide a neurotypical thing, a generational thing, or a left and right thing, or is the majority damn near unilateral reaction from some type of camaraderie with Israel and glee at the death of the Palestinians to a televised genocide and everybody thing? Because I can very much tell just by reading people's comments, they do not have the full story because they are not looking at any of it through their own lens. They are only using the lens of what they've been indoctrinated to believe. And I know this because in the comments, they only came with insults. And then I would reply with only facts, to which they back with only insults, which lets me know they're not providing facts because they don't have any, right? And that's very confusing to me. Not only is it confusing to me, I think it's very dangerous to society as a whole. I mean, think about it. Like in a courtroom, what if you were arrested and being tried for a crime you did not commit? And would you be okay with the judge only hearing one side of the story? And worse, the only side he would listen to would be not your side. Would you be cool with that? And then cool to be genocided because of it? No. Honestly, that is heartbreaking to me that these atrocities have been happening to the people of Gaza for 75 years directly and 125 years indirectly. Let's go back to the beginning of the lie. Not the conflict, the major lie. And this is the major lie that America, I believe, is basing their gung-ho standing with Israel narrative. This is what's fueling that narrative. The churches call prophecy fulfilled. The Jewish state was made, but what we're not taught, and I heard a Jewish journalist out of, I think, Tel Aviv say the same thing in an interview. We're not taught Israel was given to the Jews and it fulfilled the prophecy and they got their state. We're not told that was what the Palestinians call the Nakba, meaning the great catastrophe, where the Jewish people came in and occupied the land, which wasn't theirs. It belonged to Palestine, their land, centuries. They just took it from them. They just took it by force, and they killed many of its citizens. Basically the same thing that we were taught the Europeans did to the Native Americans. The whole Billy Graham crusades, where Billy Graham was literally the first televangelist that you'd see. He was a Zionist puppet. He's the one that really propagated the whole movement of telling everybody that it was a prophecy fulfilled. And this all started in the 1950s, right after Israel was made. And he spread that message to all the evangelical churches, all of the Protestant churches, especially like the Southern Baptist and the Methodists and the regular Baptists, Pentecostals, Assemblies of God. You gotta ask a question, right? When you find out that they use Habakkuk, Amos, Zechariah, Ezekiel, Joel, Daniel, Jeremiah, Hosea, Ezra, 1 Chronicles, Judges, Exodus. Okay, that's Old Testament. Then you got Matthew, Romans, Revelation, 2 Peter, 2 Timothy, John, Mark, 1 Thessalonians, Ephesians, Philippians, Acts, Luke. Okay, Just that's where you find all the verses that support Israel to let you know that it's a lie, because it's such a huge statistical improbability. The other more important things in the Bible are not given verses in almost every book of both testaments. Like, they didn't have even a quarter that many verses about the prophecy of, say, I don't know, Jesus, nor the prophecies about the crucifixion. Not even the New Testament verses on free will have that many verses in so many books. In fact, you can just know about the book of Revelations, or say the book of Hebrews, the book of Numbers, the book of Deuteronomy. Those are all books that contain so many things about one thing that they got their own book. Why are there so many? Unless Zionists had some kind of... What I'm thinking happened is that they hired and trained Billy Graham to make everyone believe that by Israel, God meant a physical place. And anybody else that you ask around, not Israelis, but if you ask the Arabs if this is a religious war, they will all say no, because this is not a religious war. Zionism is hands down and only a political ideology. It's also an ideology that shares many of its main tenants being employed on the people of Gaza, like literally right now as we speak, with that of the Nazis. So again, this isn't a religious situation. However, there are religious aspects, and the biggest one being Americans so-called being okay with genocide. And the majority of Americans just believe the shit that their parents believed and that their parents believed, and that for some reason Americans are pretty lazy about things that they don't maybe realize that they should think more about, like their beliefs. Mostly, yeah, their beliefs. They're just real lazy about how they believe them and why. Even if it's nonsensical, like if our parents, like vaccines, like if our parents did it and their parents did it, then we must sure have to do it. So back to the implications of the meaning of Israel and how it affects this current situation because of what American evangelicals have been taught. Since 1948, the meaning of Israel all of a sudden is synonymous with a physical location. That's not what it means. What it really means is Israel, God's people. That's Israel. Until people understand who Israel is without any religious implications of it, but yet understanding the religious implications of it. If we could get evangelicals to a better understanding of the truth, which does include the fact that it seems like the country is rapidly turning Republican. And please remember, while I'm telling you the truth about what's happening with Israel and what exactly our tax dollars are funding, that Israel's whole government is extremely far right. Many call it fascist. So all I'm saying is that if we get the American Christian evangelicals to have a good, healthy understanding of what happened and continues to happen, starting before October 7th, of what has really been going on and what is going on now, which is against international law, really helpful in stopping the Gaza genocide. And if nobody but a middle-aged ex-homeless dope fiend, continuously unemployed college dropout, wants to bother to stop the civilians, but especially the babies and children, who, number one, are the segment of the population that's being killed the most. Nobody wants to. I'll do it. I honestly think even the Israelis have been misled. I believe that. The Zionist movement is so well funded. Been able to fund how your brain views both Israel and Palestine. I'm gonna do my best to bring just a few of the most simple facts of this whole conflict, which the world started noticing October 7th. Due to memory issues, I'm gonna have to do this in parts. I hope you subscribe and come back and share and do whatever, because this genocide really needs to be stopped like 40 years ago.